Good afternoon. This time we're coming to you live with our Economic Action Maryland Fund's legislative update together in Annapolis.
It's so nice to be in town.
Even though it's very snowy. But we're here today because we've got some critical bills coming up, and we also just want to take a minute and let you know what's been happening since we checked in last week.
And it's been busy, so there's a lot, but we'll be brief.
Ish. So some good news. If you have been following along, you may know that there's been some important legislation happening to protect immigrant rights in our communities. And the Senate bills, one which focuses on banning ICE officers, ICE folks from wearing face masks and covering, and the second which says that counties, sheriff's departments, and others cannot sign cooperation agreements with ICE, both passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they're being heard on the floor right now. And that's Senate Bill 245, which bans this cooperation, and Senate Bill 1, which bans the masking of ICE in our communities.
Yeah. And the House cross-file has already moved out of the House Judiciary Committee and will be debated on the floor tomorrow. So there are some efforts to make that an emergency bill, which we're very excited to see these moving so aggressively, so early in session.
And we weighed in with written testimony in support of our immigrant neighbors and in support of immigrant rights advocates that we work closely with. And I think the timing for this is really critical because, as you may also have heard, there are reports of ICE buying a facility around Hagerstown and also of ICE moving into Howard County, Baltimore City, and other areas. So really important that the legislature take this up right now and make it an emergency so we can protect our neighbors and our community.
Absolutely.
There is some other stuff moving as well, a couple issues that are critically important to people's pocketbooks, which is really our sweet spot. And so, JBD, do you want to talk a little bit about the bill you did yesterday?
Absolutely. We're actually excited. We got quoted in Maryland Matters on this bill. It's HB1. This bill would prohibit utility companies from charging ratepayers for basically excessive executive compensation. And the hearing was yesterday. The subcommittee took it up right away. The subcommittee is coming back to work on it today, so we think that could actually come out of committee and start hitting the floor as early as next week. And the Senate will be taking the bill up probably like next week in committee, and then we do think it could move quickly over here. The important piece about this bill, it's not going to save millions of dollars for any individual ratepayer, but it's going to save a little bit every month, and it builds on the legislation that passed last year that prohibited company jets and trade association dues from being charged to ratepayers. And the more we can chip away at some of these unnecessary costs that don't benefit ratepayers, the more we can continue to tackle this issue of utility prices.
Well, and also, like, why are ratepayers paying for CEOs to make millions and millions of dollars when prices are continuing to go up and service is not improving in any way? Why are we paying for that?
Absolutely. The subcommittee chair, David Fraser Hidalgo, put it really well yesterday that we're talking about people who are earning over $250,000, and there's no reason that individuals who are struggling to pay their bills should be covering the compensation for that.
And a bill that we're going to be hearing today in Senate Finance is SB 94, and that is revisions for what is an earned wage access product. And earned wage access products, you may have seen them. It's basically a payday loan by app. So people can download an app and they can borrow against their next paycheck. But because of the fees that they incur and the additional charges, they're often paying 90 to 300% APR just to borrow money to make it to the next payday. In the House and the Senate, we've been talking about affordability as a watchword this year, and both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House have said they're concerned about affordability. This is not affordable credit. This is corporations making money off of folks who are working to make ends meet and profiting off of them while they're in a debt trap, borrowing every paycheck to pay it back. So the legislation passed last year to legalize these products. This bill that's introduced and being heard today in Senate Finance will basically improve and put important guardrails around the product. So you can no longer require people or encourage them to tip you for the service. And it also will put some caps on like how much they can charge every month, and hopefully some guardrails about people who are desperately going and taking out 50 loans a year. So we really support affordable credit. This is not that, and so we're encouraging the Senate Finance Committee to pass the bill with a lot of amendments to strengthen what is introduced.
Yeah.
And that'll be heard today. There will be a way to take action. We'll be sending out an email blast, so we hope you get those, and that will give you ways to contact your Senate Finance Committee member or the chair about the need to strengthen this bill and make sure that it protects low-wage workers. And the budget, other money.
Budget. Right, and I think we talked about this last week. The governor has introduced the budget. It's a starting point. It goes through a lot of changes as the session goes on because they get updated budget numbers. It's very much a moving target. The process for the budget now is each agency will hold budget hearings on its operating budget and then its capital budget, which are bond projects, big building projects that they want to get money for. So if you're interested in finding different agencies, different projects, on the Megaleg website, there is a whole tab that's just got all the budget documents, all these briefings, all these hearings.
And what is MegaLake?
It is mgaleg.maryland.gov. And as always, we'll put the links in the comments. So you can go and sort of dig into the wild world of the Maryland budget. There won't be any votes on this for quite some time, but the Senate will move it probably early to mid-March. The Senate takes the budget up first this year, and then the House will put the finishing touches on it.
Awesome. And I just want to thank everybody who's taken action on Senate Bill 245, which strengthens our fair housing laws and our fair housing ability to root out and enforce discrimination around housing in Maryland. Everyone who's made a call or sent an email, that's great. If you haven't, there's still time to do so. The Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee has not taken up a vote on the bill, and we would love everyone to weigh in and make sure that we can strengthen fair housing in the state, particularly right now. And next week, in addition to, I think, the energy bill that JBD mentioned, the House version of the Earned Wage Access Bill to strengthen those protections, House Bill 237, is going to be introduced next week. So calls, emails, actions, and there's lots of ways to get involved. We're doing this weekly. You should have our list, so you should be signed up to get our email and action alerts, but we're also doing a deeper dive into the legislative session for those who really want to get wonky with it. And you can subscribe to that particular listserv to get a little more in-depth information about these bills and what's happening.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's all on our website, econaction.org, and again, we'll drop the links in the comments. Next week's actually an incredibly busy week. We have bill hearings on some tenant protection bills, as well as the earned wage access and economic matters, so there's
And
a
fair
lot
housing.
moving, and fair housing.
Yeah.
Lots moving, so we are so grateful for your engagement. Nothing can get done down here without your voice, without your support, helping lift these bills up and move them forward.
Yeah. Every call, every email is what's making the difference to push these forward. So thank you, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks.